On this episode of See Indonesia, we're off to Singkawang, the city of 1,000 temples. To immerse ourselves in the city's rich Chinese heritage, learn the hard way about just how tough lion dancing really is, and finally, take a little scenic detour to sunny Lemukutan Island and make a splash in the region's pristine waters.
Come see the beauty, only on See Indonesia!
See Indonesia.
Our journey into the endlessly fascinating and diverse region of West Kalimantan continues as we explore more of what the city of Singkawang has to offer. This city is home to one of the oldest ethnic Chinese communities in Indonesia, who came to the region in the 18th century in search of gold. Back then, this sprawling cityscape was mostly a swampy forest, which at the time many believed was haunted by evil spirits. And so, to protect the people working nearby, they built a temple.
Singkawang is known as the city of 1,000 temples, but one temple stands high above the rest. It's this one, the Tridharma Bumiraya Temple that's located smack dab in the middle of the city. It's one of the oldest too, built in the tail end of the 19th century. And it has seen it all and persevered to this day, a testament to the strength of the Chinese community right here in Singkawang.
Built in 1878, this historic temple started out as just a humble resting spot for many miners who were working in the region at the time. In 1920, the makeshift shack was torn down and a new permanent temple was built in its place. But the new temple didn't last very long, as a great fire engulfed the city in 1930, tearing down the temple into ash and rubble. 3 years after the fire, the temple was eventually rebuilt. The most striking feature of this temple isn't necessarily what's inside it, rather what's outside of it. Because as you can see, the temple sits right in the middle of the city center, on the junction of several of the city's busiest main roads. Not only that, the temple also sits close by to the Singkawang Grand Mosque in an almost picture-perfect representation of the city's diverse and tolerant culture. The majority of the ethnic Chinese population in Singkawang are Buddhist, but in day-to-day life, many of them also practice Confucianism and Taoism, which is why the temple is called the Tridharma Temple, as it accommodates Buddhist, Confucianist, and Taoist processions. The city of Singkawang celebrates Chinese culture like nowhere else. For example, if a new business opens up in the city, more often than not, the owners won't be content with just the regular flower arrangements. They'll want something that'll bring good fortune. And in Singkawang, good fortune lies in the mouth of the lion. The lion dance, or barongsai, is an ancient Chinese art form which was introduced to Indonesia in the 17th century. The style of lion dance commonly found among the Chinese Indonesian community is the Chinese Southern Lion Dance, as many of the first Chinese settlers came from the south. The lion dance is commonly performed during Chinese holidays, such as the Chinese New Year, or special celebrations like weddings and the opening of a new business. But nowadays, the lion dance has also become a competitive sport, with many young athletes from various different backgrounds perfecting the craft and performing increasingly more spectacular moves. Asoka High School in Singkawang has a club that focuses on competitive line dancing. And I had the chance to sit down with the coach of the team to learn more about the meaning behind the lion dance.
Makna dari tarian barongsai itu kita bisa lihat dari dua perspektif ya. Yang pertama tuh dari perspektif tradisional sama dari olahraga. Nah, kalau yang tari tradisional tuh biasanya kan berbau kekuatan mistis tuh. Nah, jadi barongsai itu membawakan sebuah energi positif ke suatu pertunjukannya, misalnya dari bermain di kelenteng gitu, atau bermain di pada saat Imlek, Cap Gome itu biasanya untuk mengusir hawa-hawa negatif. Kalau dari makna olahraga, barongsai itu dimaknai sebagai suatu pertunjukan, show, perform gitu. Dan juga barongsai itu dijadikan suatu pertandingan, pertandingan olahraga.
Competitive lion dancing is recognized by Indonesia's National Sports Committee, and Indonesian teams frequently found great success in international lion dancing championships, with 4 world titles in various competitions since 2009. As a lion dancing newbie, I wanted to know exactly what makes a good lion dance.
Kalau dari perlombaan kan, kalau yang buat dia bagus tuh dari yang pertama tentu saja ekspresi. Kan kita kan bermain dengan barongsai nih, barongsai kan diibaratkan sebagai seekor binatang, singa. Berarti kita harus bisa menghidupkan dari ekspresi singanya. Lalu dari gerakan sesuai dengan ritme musik yang dimainkan.
Without counting the musicians, a lion dance can be performed with a minimum of 2 people operating the lion. 1 dancer for the head and 1 for the body. Each dancer has their own role, and both have to be in sync with each other's movements. Theory is all well and good, but to really get a feel for it, I had to practice and actually dance with the costume myself. The movements themselves are simple, but operating the lion head adds an extra layer of complexity. Not only is the lion head heavy, but you have to be able to contort your hands in a way where you're able to hold the head up and at the same time operate the eyes and mouth, all while maintaining a deep squat. This is yet another reason why you shouldn't skip leg day.
Woo! Oh my god. It's not as easy as it looks. Now I know why the performers there were out of breath. This thing is heavy, but makes you appreciate the performances even more though. Well, I need to work on the shoulders to really carry this thing around, but my god, this is not light at all.
Just some very basic line dance moves can get your shoulders sore and your heart pumping. So I can't even imagine doing all these jumps and crazy tricks that these professional line dancers do on the regular. It all goes back to truly embodying the lion, bringing it to life through the music and the movements. The city sure is something special, but let's not forget that Singkawang is a beachside city. So when we return, we'll be sure to head to the nearby beach for a little sand and sun. So stay right here.
See the beauty only on See Indonesia. See the beauty only on on See Indonesia.
You know what my favorite part about Chinese culture is? It's not the intricate and brightly colored temples, the complex and multi-layered writing system, or the hundreds of unique forms of art. It's the food. Chinese food caters to all taste buds. But I guess it's kinda unfair to say that, considering there's at least 8 different styles of Chinese cuisine. Each one more different than the next. And not to mention the multitude of ways other countries have adapted Chinese dishes to suit their tastes. But in my opinion, you can never go wrong with Chinese food. And Singkawang is spoiled for choice when it comes to the tasty food. We had a taste of the savory side of the city in our previous episode, but now I'm craving something sweet.
Alright, so we're now at Bubur Gunting Asun, and I got myself a little itty bitty bowl of bubur gunting. So bubur gunting, which literally translates to scissor porridge, basically just describes about how the bubur is made, which is they take up a bunch of cakwe, as usually used to serve in like very savory dishes, cut it up with some scissors, and mix it in this porridge that's made out of glutinous rice flour, hence the stickiness, for lack of a better word, and also mix it in with some mung beans. And these mung beans, I don't know if you can see it, they're already peeled, so it's not green, it's white now, but it still tastes exactly how mung beans would taste like. So this place is usually sold out around midday, so which is why we're here so early. We tried to go here yesterday, it was closed. Very popular for people who really like sweet breakfast. And so I'm gonna try it out, tell you guys what I think. Okay, I gotta say that's really good. You know, if you're a person who loves sweet breakfast, this is something you should definitely try out. It's also, the serving size isn't too big, isn't too small, it's just the right size for like a quick breakfast. And the cakwe, even though I'm more commonly used to cakwe being used in savory dishes, it actually works really well in this because it soaks up all that sweetness, all that creaminess. And the mung beans add a nice bit of protein, a nice bit of crunch also. And so you can say that this is a pretty balanced breakfast. In that case, I'm going to unbalance it with some more calories via these cakwe that's filled with srikaya. And I love srikaya, so I couldn't resist. My hunch was right. These are amazing. And there's a cat. Even they cannot resist the temptations of the bubur gunting. Let's wash it all down. Sarsaparilla. Local sarsaparilla too.
This was basically the perfect sweet breakfast. Not too heavy and not too sweet. Just the right amount. And it couldn't get any more authentic than this. Eating street food in some random vacant lot on some random tiny street. You'll be hard-pressed to find bubur gunting outside of Singkawang. So if you're here, you gotta give it a try. Just remember to come by early in the morning. With the energy of the bubur gunting coursing through my veins, I'm off to the beach. Did you know that the name Singkawang is derived from a Dayak word that means a wide swampy area near a beach? Well, it's definitely not as swampy as it used to be. But the beach, that part isn't going anywhere. Singkawang has around more than 20 kilometers of coastline, with gorgeous beaches scattered throughout. Some beaches are quieter and less busy than others. One of the beaches we visited was the Samudra Indah Beach, located around 30 minutes south of the city center. In here, you'll find some calm and pristine waters to play around in, or as some locals seem to prefer, go fishing in. The horizon looks out to the vast South China Sea, but if you try and look for it, you might even be able to spot Lemukutan Island, which we'll be exploring more in a little bit. By the beach are also these enormous rocks scattered throughout. These rocks are made of granite and could be well over millions of years old. How did they get here? Beats me. But most large granite stones like these come from deep underneath the Earth's crust, which are then eroded by the ocean waves over the years, making them seem like a foreign object separate from the Earth. Looking around the beach, I can't help but notice the presence of a seaside temple. From the looks of the altar, this temple could be dedicated to the venerated Admiral Zheng He, also sometimes referred to as Cheng Ho or Sampo. Admiral Zheng He is considered one of the greatest admirals in Chinese history, and many temples in Southeast Asia have been built in his honor. So it's fitting to find one so close to the sea. Beyond the temple, I noticed a shady grove tucked away in the corner. Prime real estate for someone looking to unwind, away from the heat of the midday sun. It's a rather cozy little spot with large rocks scattered all around, and after a bit of maneuvering, I finally found a nice spot for myself.
My favorite part about exploring is finding like little secluded spots like these. It's like a reward, I guess, for being a little curious about your surroundings. And I guess the other favorite part about it is how nice it feels, I guess. I guess when you do all these like travel stuff, it's a lot of busyness in your brain. It's a little loud, and daily life is already as loud as it is. You kind of forget what quiet sounds like. It sounds pretty much like this. It's nice. I could get used to quiet.
As I drift off to sleep, my mind wanders off to the next and final stop of our adventures in Singkawang. While it's nice to sit around and soak up the sun, I'm still eager to get soaked in the literal sense. And I'm not gonna be able to do that here. So next up, we're sailing away to the island of Lemukutan, off the coast of Singkawang, where we'll really get our feet wet. Don't miss it.
See Indonesia. See the beauty only on See Indonesia.
There is a hidden paradise tucked away on the western coast of West Kalimantan. An island with a rich yet seldom talked about history and unbelievably pristine waters. That island is Lemukutan. We began our journey early in the morning at the docks of Suak Bay, 30 minutes south of Singkawang. Once there, we boarded one of the passenger ferries, along with a dozen or so other people, and their many belongings. And once everyone was settled in, we were off. The journey from the mainland to Lemukutan took a little over an hour. It's recommended that you sail in the morning from the hours of 8 to 10, because the later it is, the rougher the waves will get. Fortunately for us, it was smooth sailing all the way through. Lemukutan Island is home to a little over 1,000 people. Most of them are traditional fishermen. But as the island has grown in popularity, many have also started to work in the tourism sector, setting up homestays, providing guided tours, and renting snorkeling equipment. The island can get quite busy, receiving around 500 people per week during high season. Thankfully, we avoided the onslaught of travelers.
So the locals here call this spot Teluk Cina, which roughly translates to the Bay of the Chinese or China Bay. Now, it's called that because of a local legend that states that a long time ago there was a Chinese princess who came to this island to heal from leprosy, a disease which she had. And over the subsequent years of her stay here, Chinese vessels would dock around this area to drop off her supplies. Now, I'm not entirely sure about the fate of that Chinese princess, but I can tell her one thing. She picked one heck of a place to stay in.
Lemukutan Island, in addition to being a tropical getaway spot, is also an important marine life conservation zone. Everything from coral reefs, to sea turtles, to clownfish. It's an island that is brimming with biodiversity. So, I had to go for a swim and meet these aquatic friends myself. Snorkeling in Lemukutan was grand. The waters are calm and, most importantly, clear. You can see loads of fish just a few meters off the beach. And not to mention, the view on the surface is not too shabby either. After an extended snorkeling session, I headed back to dry land for a spot of lunch. Side note, did I mention that there are turkeys on this island? Like, a whole lot of turkeys for some reason. Anyways, like I said, many of the villagers here work as traditional fishermen. So when you're served seafood on Lemukutan, it's bound to be the freshest catch. I got myself a plate full of spicy fish, some fried squid, and vegetables. And I gotta tell ya, nothing in the world beats the feeling of eating a full meal after a day of swimming in the sun. And on that note, we close yet another chapter on our journey into West Kalimantan. From the historic temples of Singkawang and the incredible lion dance performers, to the idyllic beach of the city's coast and the pristine gems that lie hidden beyond it. West Kalimantan shows once again that it's more than meets the eye. But as you can imagine, there's still a lot more ground to cover and more adventures to come.